to join me again today. So for today I've got a special video for you. So this is the first of my week in the live process series, and this week I'm going to be posting a video on my week in the live, one a day, and I think the total is going to be about 4 or 5 videos, so look out for that. So this is the first of the series, and I'm going to be showing you my week in the live process. So I did this about the last week of May, and I took all the photos, and I thought I'll just take a bit of a break and then start on the process a couple of weeks later. And that's what I'm doing here. So I'm just I printed most of my photos out, and I'm going to be following a similar approach to Ali Edwards. So very methodical and having everything quite consistent for the entire album, and keeping it quite simple and having a method, methodical, so going through having a consistent format that I'm gonna follow, so it makes it a lot easier and also quicker to go through as well. And so the first thing you're going to be doing here is I kept the packaging that the kit came in. So actually, first thing I want to note is I'm going to be using the Week in Alive, Ali Edwards Week in Alive kit. And I believe you can still get it. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure, but that's what I'm doing here. So I ordered the kit, and that's what I'm going to be mainly using. I'm going to be supplementing that with a bunch of stamp set from her shop as well. And the first thing you're going to be doing here is, as I said before, I've just kept the packaging. I punched that out, and also using a 3x4 card from the currently core kit, and punch out a larger circle. And I think the larger circle was about 2 inches, and the smaller one is, I think it looks like an 1.5 inches. And I'm also adding a bit of pattern paper on the side, as you can see there, just matching it, because I felt like I need a bit more colour, and I decided to go with that pen paper from the June scrapbook kit. I think June or May scrapbook kit from the Hip Kit Club. And now I'm just planning to add some embellishment. I decided to go with this outline plastic card, which came in the kit, and I used a glossy accent to stick that down. And the next thing you're going to be doing here is I'm just going to be playing with these day dividers. So I purchased the kit relatively early, so I got these dividers as extra for free, and I'm just popping out those punch holes there, slowly there. And just another thing to note is that, as I said before, I want to keep it quite simple, and the actual album is going to be quite consistent along the way. There's 4x6, there's 3x4, and I'm going to be using those chipboards that came in the kit, etc. And quite consistent, and making all the text, all the story lined up. And another example, case in point, which is how I deal with these dividers, which are essentially, I'm just going to use the divider as is, and then sticking down these wood veneer, alphabet number, sorry. Sticking that down, using my glossy accent there. And I'm going to stick them down consistent, exactly the same every day. So that's why I'm doing it at once here. I'm using my glossy accent, as I said before. I find it, I think it works really well. I know that a lot of people like to use the red sticky tape, but I find the glossy accent is a lot easier to use, and it works well with bulky items as well. Now, the next thing I'm doing here is I'm just moving on to my 3x4 photos. As I said before, I took these photos in that week. I printed them out essentially at once, and I cut them up. And so I'm just going through that, the 3x4 ones first. And now I'm just thinking I want to decorate that photo, top left photo there. So the first thing I'm doing here is I'm just going to stick down these, this rubber word which came in the kit, and I'm just using my roller date stamp to stick that down. And the next thing I'm doing here is just using this stamp set, which I purchased separately from the Allywood's shop. And this stamp set is actually called The Story, and I think it is still available from her shop. And it says Monday Stories. And I stamped that down using my VersaFine black ink. And it is essentially my go-to black ink, to be honest, unless I stamp directly onto a photo, I will just use this ink. And it's been with me for a long time as well, which, I mean, like, it's really good value. I don't think I've ever had to buy another ink for probably a few years now, so it's been working real well. Now, the next thing I'm doing here is I'm thinking about adding a stamp onto the photo, and I also just realized that there's a missing stamp in the kit, and I just opened it. I was like, there's a missing one, so that's why it took me a while to like, what am I going to do with this, which I'm going to use, etc. So that's all good. I go it out. So as I said before, if I'm going to stamp directly on photo, I'm going to be using my Stays On, which is exactly what I'm doing here. So I'm just stamping using my Stays On black ink first on the top, and it says daily, routine, and currently. And I'm also stamping exactly the same thing underneath that, the first stamp image, using my red stamp Stays On ink. And this one I think is called Blazing Fire. And the next thing I'm doing here is I'm just peeling out these chipboard, and I'm going to be sticking directly onto that pocket there. And to decorate that, I'm going to be using this plastic heart, and I'm going to be trying out these, what do you call it, the red tape. And to be honest, the glossy accent would have been fine too, but I thought I'll try it out. And the next thing is this, I'm just going to be adding another photo. And to decorate this photo, I am going to use this label sticker, which came, I think I bought it separately from the Zoo Calico website, and I think it's by Love Life Paper. I believe it's designed by Marcy Panner. Yeah. But any label sticker would be fine there too, to be honest. And the next thing I'm doing here is I'm just going to be writing directly onto this photo of my lunch. So that was actually my late lunch. I had lentil and pumpkin soup. So I thought I'll write that down. And that's it for that photo. The next thing I'm going to be doing is just writing directly onto this, this 3x4 card, which came in the kit. And what I was essentially talking about is talking about my routine. So I woke up at about 8:30, and that was essentially a kind of a little bit of a sleep in, to be honest, on a work day. And my lunch was this lentil and pumpkin soup, and I didn't really like it, but that was all good. And then the next thing I'm going to be doing is just stamping this heart directly underneath that card there. And I'm prepping that heart stamp because I've never used it before, using my rubber, just kind of rubbing it directly onto that heart, and then just wipe off the excess rubber there. And I stamped that using my Memento Luxe ink, and that is, the color itself is actually called Love Letter. And the next thing I'm doing here is I took my photo at my desk at work, one in the morning and one in essentially the evening, and I'm just using the washi tape that came in the kit that has a kind of time on it, and just kind of putting it underneath at the bottom of that photo. So the photo of my morning is on the top and photo in the evening is at the bottom. And now I'm just going through my phone just to work out the time that I actually took that photo. And I'm just going to be writing directly onto that washi tape using my Sharpie black pen. And now moving on to the back side of that spread. What am I doing? I think I'm going to be stamped directly onto this photo of a bunch of donuts at the shop. So I went to a cafe just after lunch. So I decided to just take some photos because I wanted to get some donuts. So I thought I'll take some photos. And what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of using these alphabet stickers to spell out the word donut. And these alphabet stickers are actually from my little shoebox, I believe. I bought a bunch of them when they were on sale at my local, I guess, scrapbooking expo. And so, yeah, so I've got a bunch of them in my stash, but any alphabet stickers would be fine, to be honest. And the way I kind of spacing them out is that I want to kind of make sure that they lined up with the word Monday in the stamp set, as you can see there. And the stamp set itself is actually called Days of the Week. Now, what you might not be able to see is that I kind of smudged that bottom part, so those smaller text there underneath the word Monday. So I decided to just restamp it again, but actually onto a white cardstock. So I stamped that using the Memento Luxe ink, and the colour itself is actually called Love Letter. I stamped it onto my scrap paper. And then I'm just going to be using my foam dot to stick that directly on the smudge image there. Now, the next thing I'm doing here is putting all these finished pages into my album. And the last thing I'm going to be doing is, well, actually the next thing I'm going to be doing is adding the journaling. So the order of it is essentially the first 6x8 photo. There's either 3/4 pocket pages or the 4x6 one. So one of the 3x4 and one of the 4x6. But in between that, I would also use these not 6x8, I think it's 3x8. Yeah, I think it's 3x8. I bought this separately from the Ali Edwards store, online store as well. And now I'm just choosing this pattern paper to kind of use it as an embellishment at the bottom of these printed journaling that I have done. So I printed this out using I've created it in Photoshop, and then I printed it out using just my printer. And I printed it out on a relatively thick cardstock, so I think it was about 250 grams. I think about 250 or 210 grams. So, and what I'm trying to do is just lining that up, because I want to make sure that the actual page is about 6x8, and the pattern paper, as I said before, is actually from the Hip Kit Club's scrapbook kit, and I think this one is actually from June. I think either June or May, but I think it's June. And now I'm sticking down these chipboard alphabet that is, well, actually it's letter. It's alphabet that has it's an M, and I use the glossy accent to stick that down. And the back of that, just to note, is actually just my routine. And now I've got another photo. This is the cap of the back end of my Monday. And I'm using this acetate kind of letter that came in the kit. And then I realized that you can see the glue behind the letter itself. So I decided to just kind of rub that away, and just kind of using the glossy accent again, but using my baby wipe to try to smooth out the glue. And then I cut off the excess. But here's the annoying part. That photo was actually the end of my Tuesday rather than Monday, and I just realized that. So I peeled that off, and then I decided to just stick that onto the correct photo of the end of my Monday. And so to stick that on, I decided to change tack a little bit, and using my tiny attacher to staple that down. And my plan is actually just to keep using that method to stick the number, that letter there. And also using a stamp that actually came in the kit and it says challenging, and I stamped that 3 times using my Stay On black ink. And that is essentially it for my Monday, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Here's some close-up. If you have any questions or anything like that, please let me know. I'll be back again tomorrow. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up so I know that you enjoyed it. And if you want YouTube to let you know when my next video comes out, please subscribe, and I hope you have a wonderful day. See ya, bye!